Welcome to my seminar presentation on the topic of the mission of Aeneid from the book Aeneid by Virgil. First of all, let's go through the citation of the poet Virgil, who lived between 17 BCE and 19 BCE. Publius Virgilius Maro, otherwise known as Virgil, was a classical Roman poet. He is best known for his three major works, the Bucolics or Eclogues, the Georgics, and the Aeneid. He was born on October 15, 17 BC in Aeneid near Mantua, Italy. Born into a peasant family, the Italian countryside and its people influenced him early on, and it was later reflected through his poetry. At his early stage, Virgil received his education at Cremona in Milan and Rome, where he studied Greek and Roman authors and poets. In 19 BC, Virgil travelled to Greece, where he planned on spending the next 3 years completing the Aeneid. During his journey, he became ill with fever and returned to Italy, where he died on September 21, 19th BC. By next, let's discuss about the poem The Aeneid by Virgil. Aeneid is a Latin epic poem written from about 30 to 19 BCE by the Roman poet Virgil. The Aeneid, composed in hexameters, about 60 lines of which were left unfinished at Virgil's death, the Aeneid incorporates the various legends of Aeneas and makes him the founder of Roman greatness. The work is organized into 12 books that relate the story of the legendary founding of Lavinium, parent town of Alba Longa and of Rome. The town is founded by Aeneas, who was informed as he left the burning ruins of Troy that it was his fate to found a new city with a glorious destiny in the west. Some of the characters in the poem are Aeneas. Aeneas is the protagonist of the Aeneid. Aeneas is a survivor of the siege of Troy, a city on the coast of Asia Minor. His defining characteristic is pity, a respect for the will of the gods. He is a fearsome warrior and a leader able to motivate his men in the face of adversity, but also a man capable of great compassion and sorrow. His destiny is to found the Roman race in Italy, and he subordinates all other concerns to this mission. The Aeneid is about his journey from Troy to Italy, which enables him to fulfill his fate. Dido. Dido was the queen of Carthage, a city in North Africa, in what it is now called as Tunisia, and she was the lover of Aeneas. Dido left the land of Tyre when her husband was murdered by Pygmalion. Pygmalion was the brother of the queen Dido. She and her city are strong, but she becomes an unfortunate pawn of the gods in their struggle for Aeneas' destiny. Her love for Aeneas proves to be her downfall. After he abandons her, she constructs a funeral pyre and stabs herself upon it with Aeneas' sword. The other important characters are Anchises, Aphrodite, Creusa, Ascanius, and Achates. Some of the gods and other non-human characters are also present in this poem, The Aeneid. The mission of Aeneid. After the fall of Troy from the Great War, Trojan War against Greeks, the gods asked Aeneas to flee from Troy. He was to gather some of the surviving Trojans and to flee Italy, to establish Rome and become ancestors of the Romans. In summary, Aeneas' mission was to lead some of the surviving Trojans to Italy and establish the Roman society. On the Mediterranean Sea, Aeneas and his fellow Trojans flee from their home city of Troy, which has been destroyed by the Greeks. They sail for Italy, where Aeneas is destined to find Rome. As they near their destination, a fierce storm throws them off course and lands them in Carthage. Dido, Carthage's founder and queen, welcomes them. Aeneas relates to Dido the long and painful story of his group's travels thus far. Aeneas tells of the sack of Troy that ended with Trojan War after 10 years of Greek siege. In the final campaign, the Trojans were tricked when they accepted into their city walls a wooden horse that, unbeknownst to them, harbored several Greek soldiers into its hollow belly. He tells how he escaped the burning city with his father Anchises, his son Ascanius, and the hearth gods that represent their fallen city. Assured by the gods that a glorious future awaited him in Italy, he set sail with a fleet containing the surviving citizens of Troy. Aeneas relates the ordeals they faced on their journey. Twice they attempted to build a new city, only to be driven away by bad omens and plagues. Harpies, creatures that are part woman and part bird, cursed them, but they also encountered friendly countrymen unexpectedly. Finally, after the loss of Anchises and a bout of terrible weather, they made their way to Carthage. Impressed by Aeneas' exploits and sympathetic to his suffering, Dido, a Phoenician princess who fled her home and founded Carthage after her brother murdered her husband, falls in love with Aeneas. They live together as lovers for a period until the gods remind Aeneas of his duty to found a new city. He determines to set sail once again. Dido is devastated by his departure and kills herself by ordering a huge pyre to be built with Aeneas' castaway possessions, climbing upon it and stabbing herself with the sword Aeneas leaves behind. As the Trojans make for Italy, bad weather blows them to Sicily, where they hold funeral games for the dead Anchises. The women, tired of the voyage, begin to burn the ships, but a downpour puts the fire out. Some of the travel weary stay behind, while Aeneas, reinvigorated after his father visits him in a dream, takes the rest on towards Italy. Once there, Aeneas descends into the underworld, guided by the Sibyl of Cumae, to visit his father. He is shown a pageant of the future history and heroes of Rome, which helps him to understand the importance of his mission. Aeneas returns from the underworld and the Trojans continue up to the coast to the region of Latium. The arrival of the Trojans in Italy begins peacefully. King Latinus, the Italian ruler, extends his hospitality, hoping that Aeneas will prove to be the foreigner whom, according to the prophecy, his daughter Lavinia is supposed to marry. But Latinus' wife, Amata, has other ideas. She means for Lavinia to marry Turnus, a local suitor. Amata and Turnus cultivate enmity towards the newly arrived Trojans. Meanwhile, Ascanius hunts a stag that was a pet of the local herdsman. A fight breaks out and several people are killed. Turnus, riding this current of anger, begins a war. Aeneas, at the suggestion of the river god Tiberinus, sails north of the Tiber to seek military support among the neighboring tribes. During this voyage, his mother Venus descends to give him a new set of weapons brought by Vulcan. While the Trojan leader is away, Turnus attacks. Aeneas returns to find his countrymen embroiled in battle. Pallas, the son of Aeneas' new ally Evander, is killed by Turnus. Aeneas flies into a violent fury, and many more are slain by the day's end. The two sides agree to the truce so that they can bury the dead, and the Latin leaders discuss whether to continue the battle. They decide to spare any further unnecessary carnage by proposing a hand-to-hand duel between Aeneas and Turnus. When the two leaders face off, however, the other men begin to quarrel and full-scale battle resumes. Aeneas is wounded in the thigh, but eventually the Trojans threaten the enemy city. Turnus rushes out to meet Aeneas, who wounds Turnus badly. Aeneas nearly spares Turnus, but remembering the slain Pallas, slays him instead. Thus, by the way of the whole epic, the end of Virgil's Aeneid comes to the end in an unexpectedly sudden way. The final scene is as follows. Turnus, his thigh pierced by the spear Aeneas has thrown at him in their duel, begs for mercy. In a fit of rage, he kills Turnus, declaring that it was Pallas who slays him.